So today's session, we will be discussing about another method for forecasting. This is an improvement over the moving average method. This method, the title is weighted moving average method. So it is similar to moving average, but some modifications have been made to eliminate the limitations of moving average method. Now, in simple moving average, we have given equal weightage to all the three periods if we are going for 3 period moving average method, or if we are going for 5 period moving average method, we are giving equal weightage to all the 5 periods. But sometimes, depending upon situation, depending upon the importance of a particular period, sometimes the different situations which are there in that particular period, the organization assigns different weightages to different periods. The sum of these weightages should be equal to 1. Okay, means whatever is the period under consideration, it may be like 3 period, 5 period, 7 period, the 3 months or 3 weeks, whatever are under consideration. If we go for moving average method, simple moving average method, we are treating all the periods as same. We are not differentiating the periods. We are considering all the periods are equally important. But sometimes the periods are not equally important because of certain situations. Like let us say, if we are trying to carry out analysis for the demand in market for, let us say, raincoats, and we are taking average sales per month, then maybe you are having data for the month of May, for the month of June, for the month of July, for the month of August, for the month of September, for the month of October. Now you tell me whether from the perspective of sale of product like raincoat, all this month should be given equal importance, or there should be different importance to each month. What is your opinion? I'm talking about a product which is a seasonal product, a raincoat. So whether the importance given, weightage means it is nothing but the importance attached. Yes, Sandesh says different. Importance should be different. Correct. So normally the tendency of customers is what? They will try to buy the product like umbrella or product like raincoat in which month? At the end of May, or maybe at the start of June, or at the max they will try to buy it in the month of July. In the month of September, even though there is a sales of this particular product, the sale will be less, and obviously the importance given to this particular sale will be less because it is almost the ending part of the monsoon season, so people are not interested to buy the product like this. So more weightage should be given when there is a more tendency of the customers to buy the particular product. So likewise, depending upon the situation, depending upon the, like if you consider another example, let us say we are talking about example of demand of or sale of new vehicles in the market, then you all must be agreeing with me. Normally there is less tendency of the people to buy new vehicles in the month of June, July, August, when there is a heavy monsoon. If I take a particular region like Konkan region, normally people are not buying new vehicles in the month of June, July, August. They will try to buy the vehicles. They will, even though they wish to buy a vehicle, they will stop. They will wait. They will wait till the monsoon is over, and they will feel that in Diwali there will be some offers, and also the monsoon will get over. Then we can purchase the vehicle. Diwali normally it comes in the month of October. or in the first or second week of November. But again, if you see in the month of December, is there a tendency of the people to buy a new vehicle comparatively? You all are going in the market, you must be talking to people as a MBA students. Is there a tendency of the people to buy a new vehicle, new automotive in the month like December? In my opinion, people don't go for purchase in the month of December because the year of purchase seems to be older. So they wait for 1 month, they purchase it in the month of January. So likewise, is it correct? Do you agree? If you want to take a vehicle and it is the month of December, so what obviously you will say, I will wait for 1 month and I will take the vehicle in the fresh year, in the new year. Correct? Because whenever you want to sell the product, sell the vehicle again as a second-hand vehicle to somebody, then they will ask, what is the model? So if it is in December, still you will have the year which is of previous year. If it is in January, then you can say it is of next year. So likewise, its age will be counted right from the next year. So that's why, depending upon which product is under consideration and what are the characteristics of the product, which customers it is catering to, the periods, even though there is demand, there is sale for that particular product, but the importance of each period is different, and as the importance is different, we need to assign certain weight depending upon the importance to that particular month or that particular period. What we have to only take into account is the sum of the weightages which we are going to assign to the periods. It should be equal to 1. It should not exceed 1. So if there are 3 periods, then if I go for assigning the weights, then I will be, let us say, assigning 0.3, 0.3, 0.4. So 0.6 plus 0.4, it will be equal to 1. Or it may be 0.5, which is extremely important period, and 0.25, 0.25 for other. Ultimately, the weights which are assigned, that should equal to, the summation should be equal to 1. Okay, that is the only thing we have to take into account, and then these weightages we have to multiply with the demand for that particular period, and then we have to calculate the weighted moving average for this. Okay, so let us try to understand first. Let us take this problem. You can note down this problem. Past data for load on machine is as follows. June 585. Is it visible to you? Clear?
Yes, sir.
Yeah. Just note down the problem. It is simple to understand. June 585, July it is 610, August 675, September 750, October 860, and November it is 970. So June to November, and the numbers are 585, 610, 675, 750, 860, 970. Please check. And once your table is complete, just unmute and inform that the data has been written.
Complete, sir.
Okay. What about others?
Done.
Done. Okay. So let us move further. Try to note down the questions which are below that data. I hope it is visible to you. Calculate the load using fifth moving average for December. Calculate weighted 3 months moving average for December if weights are 0.5 for November, 0.3 for October, and 0.2 for September. If there is any invisibility, you can open the PDF which is already on Google Classroom and try to note down the questions. Once you once you finish this point number A and B, just unmute and inform.
Done, sir.
Other?
Done, sir.
Okay. So let us will try to go further. So first part is calculate the load using fifth moving average for December. When I say fifth moving average means what? It is 5-period moving average. Okay. When I say 5-period moving average, I want to calculate for December. So which 5 months I should consider?
June, July, August, September, October.
We have to start from November, October, September, August and July. So June should not be taken into account because this is a data for 6 months and we want to calculate for December using fifth moving average, 5-period moving average. So before December, whatever may be the immediate 5 periods, so November, October, September, August and July, this should be taken into account and try to calculate the moving average or simple moving average using 5 periods and tell me the value what you are getting. Same as previous.
$773.
773. Yes. What about others? Getting similar value? Yes, Pratiksha said 773. It is simply addition of all the demands. Only June you have to exclude. We have to start from July, August, September, October, November. 5 periods. We have to go for adding all the demands divided by 5. That will be the 5 months or fifth moving average for the month of December, and the forecasted demand will be 773. Yes. So I hope remaining all people will also get the same value. Now what is different is the part B of this problem. Calculate weighted 3 months moving average for December if the weights are 0.5 for November, 0.3 for October and 0.2 for September. Okay. So first part is for 5-period moving average. It is simple moving average. Now we have to go for 3 periods moving average, but this is not simple moving average. We have to go for calculation of 3 periods weighted moving average. Okay. And the weights are given 0.5 for November, 0.3 for October and 0.2 for September. So what simply we have to do is the demand for corresponding months. So demand for November, it is how much? 970. So multiply this by 0.5. Demand for October is 860. Multiply by 0.3. And demand for September, it is 750. Multiply by 0.2. because the weights are 0.5, 0.3, 0.2, and then add them together. So you can write like this: 3 months weighted moving average, WMA, is nothing but what? Weighted moving average for December. Slightly the impressions of back page, they are interfering, but I hope the things are visible to you. 0.5 into demand for November plus 0.3 into demand for October plus 0.2 into demand for September. So finally, your answer should be around 893 units. So you can calculate and put in chat box what answer you have got. Have you understood what to do? Any doubt? Any difficulty? Simply the demand for individual period, November, October, September, it should be multiplied by the individual weight which is already given in the problem. So we are not supposed to decide the weights. Whatever has been given, 0.5, 0.3, 0.2, simply we have to multiply to the respective demands and add,
893.
yes, add them together. So 893 units, it is nothing but the value for the forecasted demand for the month of December using which method? 3 periods weighted moving average method. Correct? So we can, when we want to write the answer, the 5 periods moving average, it is 773, and 3 periods moving average for December month, it is 893 units. So everybody is clear with this? Simple moving average, weighted moving average.
Yes.
So simple moving average, earlier lecture we have seen for 3 periods. Here we have calculated the simple moving average for 5 periods, and also we have tried to understand the weights, how to calculate the new demand with multiplying with the weights and then finding out the forecast by using the weighted moving average method. Okay. Now we will time being skip the 2 remaining methods, least square and the another one, that is exponential smoothing, and directly we'll jump to the last part, that is calculation of forecast accuracy, because the problems what are given in your examination based upon this moving average method, they also have this calculation of forecast accuracy. So better is we'll go for that first and then we'll come back to the methods. So I hope again the screen is clearly visible to you. Measures of forecast accuracy. So let us at least try to understand the various measures of forecast accuracy and their formulae. If possible, we'll take the problem today. Otherwise, we can continue in the next session. So let us try to understand the forecast accuracy concept first, and which are the measures, which are the parameters to measure this forecast accuracy. So this demand forecast influences most of the decisions in all the functions. Hence, it must be estimated with the highest level of precision. Accuracy of forecasting method can be determined by measuring the deviation of forecast value from the actual demand. So, whether our forecasting method is correct or not, how we will come to know? Yesterday, somebody was asking, this seems to be very simple, whether this can be used in practical applications. How we will come to know whether the forecasting is correct or not? So that's why these are the measures which will give you idea about whether your forecasting method is giving you the results accurate or it is deviating too much from the actual scenario in your industry. So the errors, we are trying to calculate the errors, and if the errors are larger, we can say the forecasting method is not good. it is not appropriate. If the errors are very small, then we can say it is more and more accurate, because there is no measure to find out the accuracy. We have to find out the error, and based upon the error we have to predict the accuracy or estimate the accuracy. Accuracy and error, they are opposite to each other. If error is high, accuracy is less, and if error is less, your accuracy is high. Okay, so I will request all of you to just note down this formula, at least the full form, what that short form indicates, and its formula. So first measure of forecast accuracy is mean absolute deviation. The first letter for all, it is MAD. So mean absolute deviation, it is the mean of absolute deviation of forecast from actual demand. This MAD is sometimes also called as mean absolute error. So MAD can also be called as MAE. So sometimes in the problem in university paper, they will ask to calculate MAD. Sometimes they will say calculate MAE. We have to do the same thing, nothing different. So the formula for MAD or MAE is equal to summation for the period t equal to 1 to n. So t is, we have taken one, you can say operator or one variable. The value of t varies from 1 to n. Presently, simply note down the formula. No need to worry about how we should implement it or how we can go for actually calculation. So I think you all know these two vertical lines. Do you know? Can somebody tell? dt minus ft, and there are two vertical lines. They are not brackets, and divided by n. So can anybody tell me what these two vertical lines are indicating? Any idea? This is something related to mathematics. So if you have studied mathematics in your graduation, or you remember mathematics learned in 9th, 10th or 11th, 12th somewhere, these two vertical lines, they have some relationship with this word, which is absolute. So clue is given. Now, can somebody tell? You may try. It may be correct. It may be wrong. Don't worry. Just try to speak up. Whatever you feel. I expect everybody should tell whatever they feel, why the two vertical lines have been drawn. Why it is not simply dt minus ft upon n. If I write simply dt minus ft, and if I am writing this two lines and then inside that dt minus ft, what will be the change? Anaga says negative value will convert to positive. Okay. Anybody else want to try? What about others? Are you there? Pratiksha, yes for what? You are there. Or whatever Anaga says. Yes, fast. Tasmia, what is your opinion? What the two vertical lines indicate? You are not audible properly. I think you have some network issue. Anyway, we don't have that much time to discuss and take feedback from each and everyone. But actually, I expect everyone to unmute and at least give some opinion. It may be correct, it may be wrong, but you should have certain opinion. You should have your active participation during the session. So what Anaga says is correct. Negative value is getting converted to positive if you are putting under these two lines. These two lines we call it as modulus. These two lines, vertical lines, we call it as modulus. And whenever we are putting something inside this modulus, two vertical lines, even though that difference is negative, the value will come out to be positive. Means let us say if the value of dt is 100 and value of ft is 200, what is the value of dt minus ft without this modulus? Simply dt minus ft. dt is 100, ft is 200. How much is the value for dt minus ft?
Minus 100.
Minus 100, that's right. But now, if I take simply dt minus ft, the value is minus 100. But when I put this dt minus ft inside these two vertical lines, that is modulus, this dt minus ft value gets converted to absolute. And when we say absolute values are always positive. So that's why even though you are getting this dt minus ft is equal to minus 100, when you are writing this vertical line and dt minus ft, that is going to be equal to only 100. Modulus of dt minus ft is equal to 100. Minus sign we are removing and taking it as positive value. Understood everyone?
Yes, sir.
Yes. Okay. Good. Now let us move further. Have you written this formula? MAD or MAE, mean absolute deviation or mean absolute error, is equal to summation t equal to 1 to n modulus of dt minus ft divided by n, where this dt is what? Actual demand for period t. ft is forecasted demand for period t, and n is number of periods. So write this also, because the dt, ft and n, they will be there in all the formulae which are coming. So dt is what? Actual demand for period t, ft is forecasted demand for period t, and n is number of periods. So can somebody tell me what is the difference between dt and ft? Both are demands. Yes.
DT actual demand. It is DT is like actual which is in present, and
Okay.
forecasted demand means it is the predicted values.
Yeah, that's correct. So if we consider the previous problem, what you have calculated, that is 893 weighted moving average. Okay, that was the 3 months weighted moving average forecasted demand for December month. But maybe in actual 900 units will sell. Okay, so whatever we calculate based upon the previous data, that is your forecasted demand, and whatever you actually sell in the market, whatever your products are getting sold in the market, that is your actual demand for that particular period. So forecasted demand and actual demands, if they are same, means your forecast is 100% accurate. If your forecasted demand is more and actual demand is less, then you are producing more but selling less. So you are based upon your forecast, you are manufacturing and your sale is less, so there is loss to the company. If the forecasted demand is less and actual demand is more, means you are actually producing less, but there is huge demand in the market, so you need to gear up, you need to plan for extra hours to work and try to produce more so that you can satisfy the demand in the market. So I hope the things are clear to you, DT and FT. Is it correct?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Sometimes in the problem, they don't say that actual demand and forecast demand. They simply say two words, demand and forecast. So if they say demand and forecast, demand is DT and forecast is FT. Correct? So actual demand and forecasted demand, in that way also it can be said, or sometimes it is said as demand and forecast in simple words. So that is DT and FT. And N is number of periods what are under consideration. Okay. Have you written this and the formula? Everything is over.
Yes.
Let us move to the next. Mean square error. MSE, mean square error. It is the mean of square of the deviation of forecast demand from actual demand values. Every time now, the major focus is on one term, that is DT minus FT. Okay. Now in this case, is there any modulus? Vertical lines are there?
No.
No. Why there are no vertical lines? Because we are
Because there
taking
is a
square.
square.
Whenever we are going for square, everything gets converted to positive value. Correct? So earlier case, we wanted positive value, so we put modulus and took only the positive difference. Now, since we are squaring, we will get the positive values. So MSE is equal to summation T is equal to 1 to N dt minus ft bracket square divided by N. Just note down the formula and the name, mean square error, MSE. Tell me once you finish. Mean square error, MSE, is equal to summation T equal to 1 to N dt minus ft bracket square divided by N. So Pratiksha says done, means I can understand or say that everybody has finished. Yes. Next formula, just start noting down the formula. Mean forecast error, MFE. It is the mean of deviation of forecast demand from actual demand. So MFE is equal to summation T equal to 1 to N. Now simply dt minus ft divided by N. So dt minus ft is not in modulus, it is in bracket. So what it indicates? This dt minus ft will be positive, will be negative, or may be positive, may be negative. Yes, this bracket dt minus ft will be positive, will be negative, or may be positive, may be negative.
Maybe positive.
Both may be positive, may be negative, I
Yeah,
guess.
that's correct. So third option, may be positive, may be negative, because we don't know whether dt is more, ft is more. But now we are not bothered about whether it is positive or negative. We will be going on adding as it is. If it is positive, it will get added. If it is negative, it will get subtracted. So we are taking as it is. So mean forecast error, we will be having summation of all the dt minus ft for all the periods, t equal to 1 to n divided by total number of periods, that is n. Okay, everybody has written.
Yes.
So let us move to the next formula. mean absolute percentage error, MAPE. The fourth formula is mean absolute percentage error, MAPE. It is the mean of percentage deviations of forecast demands from actual demands. So you can see the formula. MAPE is equal to 1 divided by n, summation of t equal to 1 to n, mod of dt minus ft divided by mod of dt multiplied by 100. So just note down the formula. So 1 divided by n, that is 1 divided by number of periods, and it is multiplied by summation of dt minus ft under modulus. So again, similar to the formula number 1, we have to take difference between dt and ft, and only we have to take the positive value. We should eliminate the negative sign. It is not like negative values are to be eliminated. Negative sign we have to convert into positive and take everything as positive, divided by its own dt, actual demand, multiplied by 100. So write down the formula. Once your formula is complete, just inform. Yeah, Anaga says done. Rasmi are done. Okay. Now let us move to the problem. Okay. Just note down this. Demand and second row is forecast. I hope the numbers are visible. Demand, there are 5 periods. So if you want, you can add one more row, that is period. Period 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Demand 150, 160, 165, 175, 180. And forecast 165, 165, 165, 165, 165. For all the periods, the forecast is same. It is 165. Period 1, demand is 150. Period 2, 160. Period 3, 165. Period 4, 175. Period 5, 180. Just unmute and say yes once you complete this. Okay.
Done.
Yes.
Done, sir.
Yes. Now I think people are completely out of sleep. They are doing it fast. Initially there was some sleepiness, but now everybody is alert. Everybody is on their toes. So the things are very fast now. Is it right? Okay. Now try to write the data in columns format. So these many columns you are supposed to calculate. So accordingly, you prepare your table. DT and FT as it is given, column number 1 and 2, or you can add one more column before that, that is period 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. DT 150, 160, 165, 175, 180, FT 165 for all. And then you are having these many columns afterwards. So manage your space accordingly. So prepare the table and just write the heads for column number 3, 4, 5, 6. DT minus FT, modulus of DT minus FT, then DT minus FT bracket square, and last column is modulus of DT minus FT divided by modulus of DT multiplied by 100. So prepare the table, and once your table columns are ready, unmute and please inform. If anything is not visible properly, not clear, don't write any wrong thing. Unmute, ask, get your query solved, and then only write. Yes. First person to complete, Anagha. Sandesh. Good. Himaya. Yes. Tasmiya. Bhagyashri. Good.
Done, sir.
Yes, yes. That's good. So if you have completed with the first two columns and remaining column heads, we can start calculating the numbers. So I hope you see the first number in the third column, dt minus ft, minus 15. How it has come? See the column head, it is simply demand minus forecast, dt minus ft. So 150 minus 165. So the value is minus 15. Is it correct?
Yes.
Okay, I'm not good in maths, so you can cross check your value and you can cross check my value and tell if it is wrong. And if you have calculated this minus 15 in first row, then same logic apply for all the 5 periods and check whether the values are minus 15, minus 5, 0, 10, 15. Once you complete the row, this column dt minus ft, you can tell. Minus 15, minus 5, 0, 10, 15. All values are correct?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Complete. Good. If all values are matching, they are correct. Then last row, you have to add one more row. That is for addition. Correct? So you have to take the addition of this entire column. Means minus 15 plus minus 5 plus 0 plus 10 plus 15. So if you are having calci, you can go on simply putting the numbers, or you can even do manually also. 15 plus 10, 25, minus 5, so it is 20. Again minus 15, so it is 5. So check whether the last summation column, summation row results in plus 5 or 5, which is addition of this dt minus ft, entire column. Is there any doubt? Everybody gets this summation as 5.
Yes.
Yes.
If you are not getting this value as 5, then you have to check your basics for addition of positive and negative numbers. Go back to the maybe 5th or 6th standard book, check positive negative numbers and addition of positive and negative numbers together. So that will clear your doubts. So if that column is complete, then move to next. Next column is what? Modulus of dt minus ft. So now there is no need to go for again subtraction. You have already the value of dt minus ft. Simply you have to convert that into absolute value. When I say absolute value means what? Simply you have to remove the negative sign if it is present and write the value as positive value. So this will applicable only for first two rows because there is minus 15 and minus 5. Instead of minus 15 we are writing 15. Instead of minus 5 we are writing it as 5 because it is modulus, absolute value for dt minus ft. 0 as it is, 10 already positive, 15 already positive, no change. Understood?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So modulus of dt minus ft column, the values are 15, 5, 0, 10, 15. Last row, again we have to go on taking the addition of all the elements in this column. So 15 plus 5, 20 plus 10, 30 plus 10, 40 plus 5, that is 45. Finish. I hope it is over.
Yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay, okay.
Yes, sir.
Then next column, it is dt minus ft bracket square. It is not modulus, it is bracket square, because we know square is always positive. Okay, so simply whatever you have dt minus ft column, you square it, you will get that dt minus ft bracket square. So 15 square or minus 15 square, 225, minus 5, 25, 0, 0, 10 square, 100, 15 square again, 225. As you are using calci, no need to remember the squares. You can do it on mobile also, squaring the values. If the squares are correct, the total is 575. Yes, Meenakshi, absolutely
Yes.
correct. So last row for this dt minus ft square, the summation is 575. I hope all are getting this 575 magic number.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Got it.
Then move to the last column. What is the last column? It is the modulus of dt minus ft. So our column number 4, mod of dt minus ft divided by mod of dt. So normally we have written it mod of dt, but it is dt. The demand for corresponding month multiplied by 100. So I am simply explaining for first row. What is modulus of dt minus ft for first row? It is 15, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah.
15.
Divided by 150, that is the
One.
dt, okay, and multiplied by 100. So how
15
much is the value? 10.
divided by, sir, 5.
Modulus of dt minus ft
Hmm.
is 15 divided by its dt, corresponding demand. It is 150. Even though it is mentioned modulus of
Okay, okay.
dt, already demands are all positive. So there is no need to worry. So 15 divided by 150, and this division multiplied by 100. So check whether you get the value as 10. Meenakshi has already got the value as 10. Others you can calculate and check. Nimaya 10. All done. Anaga, you mean to say all the column is ready?
Till sir 8.333.
Okay, that's great. So I think you also got the tea to refresh you so that you have started working faster.
Actually,
Others are waiting for that. That's why they are not fast.
Sir, slow and steady wins the race.
It's okay, okay, okay. 10, 3.1250, 5.7142, and 8.3333. These are 5 values for the 5 periods which are in place. So systematically go for calculation. Don't be in hurry. Just check the values what you are getting. My value may be wrong. You calculate. If your value is different, then tell me. If your value is matching, then it is great. My calculation is correct. We will just verify my calculation, not anything other than that. So 10, 3.125, 0, 5.7142, 8.3333. If all the values you have got, then summation you directly take it as 27.1725. Yes. Sandesh Parshuram, all right, sir. Yes, that's great. So Sandesh, also check the summation 27.1725.
सर थोडासा डिफरन्स चालतो ना 0.3 चा वगैरे.
हाँ चालेल चालेल. Yes, no problem. And once you get these all column summations, then use the formulae. Those who have finished the table, they can use the formulae for MAD, MSE, MFE and MAPE. Now simply what you have to do is respective column, its last row summation divided by 5 and calculate. So like if I go for MAD, it is the column summation for mod of dt minus ft divided by 5. If I go for MSE, it is dt minus ft bracket square divided by 5. So I have to check the column summation for dt minus ft bracket square column. If I go for MFE, simply I have to go for dt minus ft summation divided by 5, and last MAPE, last column summation divided by 5. So now complete this, and once you get all 4 values, check with the answers 9, 115, 1 and 5.433%. And once this entire work is ready and matching with this, my calculation, unmute and you can tell. So I hope you have understood this methodology for calculation of measures of forecast accuracy. There are 4 measures: mean absolute deviation, mean squared error, then this MFE, that is mean forecast error, and last is mean absolute percentage error. So if you see the question papers, whatever is the method asked for forecasting, along with that they ask for either 1 or 2 or all these measures of forecast error, and we are supposed to calculate this.